Hello and welcome back to another episode, another week with me and Ari. Welcome back, guys. If you're new here, then welcome to Alignment Academy, a school for your soul to grow and evolve. We talk about all things mindset, inner work, limiting beliefs, entrepreneurship, spirituality, quantum field, manifestation. Like, honestly, we cover most things. So welcome. And this is my best friend and co-host, Ari. Hi. Today, we're going to be talking about probably the topic that is most in my DMs literally every week, which is, Kristen, I want this thing. I want this business. I want this following. I want this thing so bad. But no matter how bad I want it, I can't seem to stop procrastinating. And I'm a massive perfectionist. So we're going to be talking about all things perfectionism and procrastination today.
Okay, so before we get into that, Kristen, you just had a huge birthday and we just went somewhere very fun to celebrate.
So yeah, let's do a little, I guess, life update.
A little life update.
This
one's exciting.
This is an exciting one. So you guys have had a couple episodes where I'm like telling you guys I turned 30. I celebrated my 30th. But while those episodes were coming out, I was actually on my birthday trip, which was a very last minute trip to Hawaii.
It was so fun. Ari was there. I was there. It was so fun. Honestly, I think it was so healing on like every level for all of us.
Mm-hmm. I think it was one of those trips where we didn't quite know what we were getting into. Like, I feel like we didn't know if we were going to be like, I don't know, like out on the town or like in nature the whole time. We had no real, like, we didn't have a super set plan.
Right. But in the best way possible.
In the best
way. We're just flowing with it.
We were flowing and we're all
Kristen was in her flow. It was great, guys.
You were in your flow.
I was in my flow too.
Ari slept in for the first time I've ever seen her slept in. Like, she wakes up here at 5 a.m. every single day. Like, when I wake up at 6:30, I know I will have a text message from Ariana. Like, I know. I look forward to it. I'm like, what's she going to say today? Sometimes it's like pictures of her breakfast. Sometimes it's like a long voice note about our podcast episodes. I just never know. But anyway, you slept more than I did.
It was amazing. I understand the hype officially. Yeah, I'm sleeping in. I get it now.
But it's funny because we were in Hawaii, so like sleeping in was actually like we were sleeping until 6 a.m.
Oh yeah, because of the time zone,
which was 9 a.m. So it was like not really even sleeping in. But anyway, as you guys know, I'm ending my Saturn return, and one of the biggest fucking things that I went through, honestly, just in my 20s, was definitely how many friendships I've lost and how I've had so much trouble with like just girls in general. And I did so much friendship wound healing. Like, that's what I even teach in Inner Work Alchemy, because I know that I've shifted the reflection so much. But I feel like in Maui, I mean, we talked about it there. I was like, I actually am healing on like a soul level right now.
No, it was absurd. Also, so it was a group of, there were 4 of us total, including Kristen. It was really small, but I mean, I'm sure everybody who's listening has been on a girls' trip. You know how girls' trips go. You know how sometimes they're hard. Girls are hard. I was going into this trip kind of anticipating that there were going to be some moments that were maybe difficult, whether it was communication or this or that, whatever. There was not a single one.
There wasn't.
We were all on the highest vibration the entire time.
Same wavelength.
The happiest, most genuinely authentic happy that I think all of us have ever experienced for that long duration of time. We laughed so hard the whole time. Speaking in a British accent, like
the whole
every day.
Yeah, or an Australian accent. Either one.
It was so fun.
Not English accent though.
But yeah, it was healing. It was so healing.
Yeah.
Where like we got back and we were like, wow, that trip was like a breath of fresh air. Like, I feel so energized and rejuvenated to go back into my life again. Let's go.
It definitely wasn't one of those trips where you're like, I need a vacation from my vacation.
Right.
Like, you weren't mentally or physically or emotionally exhausted. Well, I was pretty physically exhausted, actually. Yeah.
We did go on that hike.
We did go on a really hard hike.
Pouring rain.
Yeah, that was like, that was hard. I felt when I came back, like, oh, I'm just ready to lock in again. I didn't feel like I'm tired and I need to like not talk to people for 7 days, which is like, sometimes you know me. So sometimes I come back and I'm like, sorry, girl, can't can't see you for 72 hours, like need to go.
You're like, I need to cocoon.
But I did have a moment during the trip, and I told you guys about it on the trip, that I really want to kind of like recap almost for myself, because oh my gosh, there was a moment when we were there and our friend Jerry like comes and sits on our bed and we're just like making these inside jokes, and all of a sudden I have these like soul moments sometimes where I feel like my soul comes out of my body and is like looking at the situation from a very third party experience of what's kind of going on, and I'm watching myself laughing with my friend who's sitting on my bed. And all I could remember was thinking, oh my gosh, like I've come so far in friendships. And I had this memory come to my mind when we were like laughing about something. One of my most painful friendship breakups, I've talked about it on my friendship wound episode. So if you want to go listen to me choke up about it, then you can just go to that episode. We'll link it below. I went to a reunion for a group of friends, and I wasn't friends with the girls. Like I wasn't really close with them, but they invited me to the reunion and I was so excited to try to rekindle these relationships. Like I was nervous as hell. I didn't want to go. I lived in California. It was in Florida. So like I'm flying across the world. I remember I wasn't making a lot of money. I spent $900 on the flight. Like I'm really excited, but I'm really nervous because all these girls for these years have been staying in touch, and I just felt like I wasn't connected to them anymore because they were still drinking a lot. They were partying.
These were friends from high school, right?
These were actually college friends.
College. Okay.
These were college friends. And they were all just like, yeah, like they were just partying, they were drinking, whatever. And I, at the time, was starting my business. So I had stopped drinking. I had stopped partying because, to be completely honest, I just couldn't be hungover. Like that was the reason at the time. It wasn't even that I was against it. It was just like I didn't have time to be hungover. I hated how I felt. I just didn't feel in resonance with it. So I go to this reunion, and there were a couple things. There was so much that happened, but I'll just say the two most painful things that happened there. Number one, while we were there, they were texting in their own personal group chat that I'm not in versus the trip group chat.
No.
And so they would make plans and I wouldn't know about them because they're texting in the wrong fucking group chat. And I'm just like sitting there kind of like acting like I'm not hurt, but I'm like, wait, what's going on? Oh, okay. Like literally, like little Kristen is so fucking hurt, but like
what are you going to do? Be like, so I see, like, you can't say anything.
Yeah. And my self-worth was, I think, just like a lot lower. Like I think if that would have happened now, I would have just left the trip.
Yeah.
Like literally, I would just been like, okay, like I just am not welcome here. Like, bye. But then there was other things where there was one night where I had to sleep in a bed that wasn't mine because one of the girls' boyfriends was in my bed, and obviously didn't want to sleep with my friend and her boyfriend. Like it was just like I was sleeping in another bed that had an extra kind of like an extra space, even though we were gonna have to squeeze. And the girls went out, they like jumped in the ocean or something, I don't know. And they came back, and I've always had sleeping issues, so I was trying to sleep, but I wasn't asleep. It's like 3 a.m. at this point, but I couldn't sleep. I remember I was like literally trying to sleep so bad, but they come back and they're like talking about me, and they're like, what is she doing here? Like, why is she in our bed? You know, this is our last night together, and like she shouldn't even be here. And like they're talking about me. And so like this is the middle of the night too. So I just got up and I don't even know where I went to sleep. Maybe I went to sleep back in the room I was supposed to with my friend and her boyfriend. I really don't remember where I went to go to sleep, but I went to sleep somewhere else. So it was very obvious that I heard them, and I let them know that I heard them just by like getting up and leaving, you know? Anyway, so back to my moment where I'm coming out of my body in this trip. So I'm like looking at myself and I'm like, wow, I wish I could just go give that version of myself a hug, because on this trip, it's like I'm part of the inside jokes. I'm not outside of them. Like I feel I'm part of the friend group. I'm in the group. It just felt like
it's so different.
So different. And that was so traumatic for me, the whole friendship thing, that I remember 8 months after that trip, I was still having nightmares about it. I was still having nightmares where those girls were being mean, where they were ignoring me. Like there was a lot of subconscious processing. And I remember at the time I lived in LA, and my ex-boyfriend at the time, I was like, I'm still having nightmares about these girls. Like, is this ever going to end? And he didn't really know what to say. I don't think he really said anything notable, but I just remember counting how many months had been and being like, why am I still caught up on this? Like, these girls don't want to be my friend. And so Maui felt like a really big full circle moment for me to just realize how far I've come in that realm and be like, no, I really did heal that. I don't have these toxic friendship endings anymore. And I had a lot in a row.
I think that's such a testament to like what you attract too and like what you stand for.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not just the people that just so happen to be plopped in your life. Like that's the type of people that you're now attracting. Like you're attracting the kind of girls where you can go on a trip with them and like speak in a British accent at 2 a.m. and be dying laughing over everything and shit hits the fan, things go wrong, but like everybody's still just smiling about it, not to like put on a happy fake face, but like because we all are just like, it's not that deep. We're all in, you know what I mean? Like you attract that. Like, I love that.
I know. I'm trying to think about the most tense moment of the trip. And I'm pretty sure. Should I say it?
Yeah, say it.
I was so okay. I get. Should I say this on the show?
I mean, how well do you guys want to get to know Kristen?
Okay, I'll just tell you. I got so travel constipated, and I was so annoyed. And my friend Natalie is trying to give me advice, and I'm like, literally, don't give me advice. I was like, I've tried all the things. I was like, at this point, I need to relax. I don't need to be more stressed out. But she says that, like, I just need to relax. And then, anyway, all the things worked. And I come back out and I was like, I'm sorry, I was a bitch.
Kristen, I think you need to link your top tips below for anybody else.
I struggled it all. Like, I did the most those 24 hours.
You did. And our friend Jerry gave her a special massage.
Oh my God. Yeah, that did not work. Anyway, okay, so my Maui trip was amazing. It's interesting because what I realized was that just because you go through your Saturn return doesn't mean that you're going to learn or you're going to grow or you're going to evolve in the way. But I think that I chose like the highest fucking timeline by like taking all this pain, taking all these reflections and being like, no, I'm going to heal this shit so I don't have to deal with this anymore. And then it was just a moment where I was like, wow, the work I did it. The work I've been doing worked. So yeah, it was great. What was your favorite part, Ari?
Okay, one of my favorite moments of the whole trip was actually, so as you guys know, I am a triathlete. I'm chasing world record in Ironman triathlons. And just because we're on vacay does not mean that Ariana cannot train. So I had to train while we were there. One of the days we get up early and we go on a hike, okay? The hike was super fun and it was going to be kind of long, and you know, we're a group of like all mixed levels of athleticism, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to just run. I'm just going to make this hike part of my training session. So guys, here's my backpack, like I'm going to go run up and down, and like when I come back down then I'll hike the rest of the way back up with you guys, but like I'm going to just use this as like a running session, okay? So I start running. It's like really foggy, and this is supposed to be like one of the best views in Maui on this hike. It's like super foggy, and I'm like
super
climbing elevation, and I'm like, no, yeah, it's like still really like you cannot see anything. Okay, it's like still foggy, still foggy. Oh shit, it's now raining. Well, I'm like, oh my God, my friends, like I might be an Ironman athlete, but I know that they're not. Like, I hope that they're not angry that I've, one, left them like running up this mountain, and two, that they're like now in the pouring rain on this hike. So I'm almost to the top and I'm like, you know what? I feel too bad. Like, I'm just going to run back down and like see if they're okay. So I run back down and I see them, and honestly, this was like one of the highlights ever. I look at them and all of them are smiling so big, like, Ari, hi, oh my gosh, how was your run? It's pouring rain. We're all covered in mud. You literally cannot see a single thing because it is so foggy. And I look at my friends and I'm like, oh my God, I have always wanted to have friends that are like that turn something like this around and like are like that. What? Like, I've had the athletic friends that keep up with me. I've had the friends that are 10 times faster than me that I'm chasing, but like, and I've had the friends that are like not as athletic as me, but I've never had the friends where we get in a situation like this and they just embrace it all. And they just like are in such flow and like such a great place in their lives where they're like, yeah, rain, fog, whatever. We're in Hawaii, mud, who cares? Hey, Ari, how's your run? Yeah. And it was so beautiful. It was so cute. So I was just like, "Ah, I love my friends."
It was such a good hike, and it was pouring rain. It was very muddy, and we got very dirty, but it was fun. But it was beautiful. It's great. Well, perfectionism. Let's talk about it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions about this one. I myself am what I would call a recovering perfectionist. I feel like a lot of people who are listening to this episode have either struggled with perfectionism, currently struggle with perfectionism. Like, I feel like that's a word that everybody has just dealt with at some point in their lives, whether it's current, past, whatever. So, Kristen, let's talk about perfectionism 101. What is it? Start from the very beginning. How does one become a perfectionist and dive into the beginning?
If you're enjoying this episode, then I have a quick offer for you. I would love to gift you my free meditation, Release Anxiety and Trust the Universe. And this meditation has been so pivotal for me when I was going through my rock bottom or when I'm going through a moment of uncertainty in my life. And I would love for you to try this meditation out absolutely free. All you have to do is rate the podcast 5 stars, go follow my podcast Instagram page at Alignment Academy Pod on Instagram, and then send me a screenshot of your 5-star rating or review, and I will send you the meditation, no strings attached. I can't wait for you to try it out. And now back to the episode.
Yeah, so perfectionism, it's really interesting because perfectionism and procrastination are linked as one almost, because when we are perfectionists, we will procrastinate. So I'm going to kind of talk about them separately, but also together. Perfectionism is an inner child wound that forms in childhood when we were only given love when we performed perfectly, or we were kind of just given more attention, more love, more special treatment when we did things better. So then, because the analytical mind doesn't turn on till around 12 to 14, we are making rules for our simulation, for our world. And one of the rules that we make is the more I perform, the better I perform, the better I do, the more love I get. So then we grow up as adults and we don't want to do things unless we're doing them perfectly, because we don't unconsciously want to lose love, because this is, again, all unconscious. It's like, well, I'm only going to get love if I present this, or my podcast is perfect. And so I'm not going to do it if it's not perfect. But that's actually not how it works at all. However, that's what our brain is routing to. And so our brain is very, very smart. Our brain is so freaking smart that all it wants to do is get love and stay safe. Like, it wants to get love and stay safe more than it wants to follow your purpose, more than it wants you to reach your highest timeline, more than it wants you to have what you actually want in your life. Like, it wants you to stay safe and get love in this life, because that's what we needed kind of for survival. That's what your body thinks it needs for survival. It's like acceptance and safety, which is kind of true. Basically, what happens is, because you believe I won't get love unless I show up perfectly, well, you also know that you're not going to be able to be perfect. That's just not really possible. So if you never do the thing, you're never going to get love taken away. So your perfectionism causes you to procrastinate, because you know that no matter what, I can't be perfect. And if I show up imperfectly, I'm going to get love taken away. But if I don't finish, I won't get my love taken away. So therefore, I'm just going to stay right here and not take action.
Wow. I hope that if you're listening to this episode, your mind is as blown as mine is. Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen this show up and manifest in my own life in so many ways. Like, in a lot of relationships, I will often be like, sometimes you just have a moment where you're like, gosh, I don't know why this person loves me. I don't deserve their love. Like, I haven't done anything to deserve their love. And then you have to be like, you don't have to do anything to deserve love. You can just deserve love.
Yeah. And there's, this is a really good way that things like this manifest as well. Some people will then sabotage, pick fights, do something that will cause them to not have the love because they don't necessarily feel deserving of it. So they sabotage in the same way that you would sabotage, just doing the thing and showing up imperfectly and getting love for it. They're like, oh, no, I'm not deserving of that. I'm literally just going to sabotage this so I don't get this love that I feel undeserving of. So your brain is always trying to make things make sense. And that's sometimes where capacity comes in, is like too much love actually feels unsafe. Getting love without being perfect actually feels unsafe to your body. So you will sabotage because you think that the only way that you're going to get love is if you're perfect.
So it makes a lot of sense why, like where this comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, perfectionism, it sounds like it really stems from an inner child wound and not just, and the procrastination side of things of being lazy. So how do you heal that?
Yeah, so it's a lot of actual inner child work, which is not crazy because we're on Alignment Academy. We talk about it all the time. Imagine that. So it's literally going back to the childhood self and validating them that I still love you. If you show up imperfectly, you're allowed to not be perfect. Oh my gosh, even when you are so authentic, that is when I love you the most. So the little child self thinks that, oh my God, I'm only going to gain love if I'm perfect. But what if the little child self felt that no matter how they performed, if they just showed up as themselves, they were going to get love? And then from that regulated place, when we rewrite that neural pathway, because it's just a neural pathway that's been firing and wiring for years and years and years, when we go over it with inner child work and we rewrite that neural pathway, which is a fancy way of saying like reparenting ourselves and teaching our body that it's safe to show up imperfectly, then that's actually when we're able to have more capacity for being imperfect. So number one is going to be, just to break it down, we have the internal and then the external. So the internal is going to be doing the inner child work, and then the external is going to be what I call practice being imperfect. Like literally, this is what's in my programs, is like, all right, let's practice being imperfect. And people are like,
Purposely being imperfect?
purposely being imperfect, because your body feels so unsafe being imperfect. So we have to train the body that it is safe to show up imperfectly and nothing bad happens. I think that this is one of the funniest parts of inner work, is the work is actually doing nothing and sitting in the discomfort. That's it. That's it. Doing nothing and sitting in the discomfort of feeling uncomfortable, which is nervous system regulation. Yay! Like literally the entire point of what I teach. And so let's give an example. Let's say that your perfectionism, and one of the exercises I give in my perfectionism masterclass and in inner work alchemy is, all right, let's do a little audit of your life and see a couple places where your perfectionism is running the show. So let's say every time you make an Instagram story, you record it 10 times. And then after the 10th time, sometimes you don't even post it because you're overthinking it so much. So how we would practice is, I give this to almost all my clients, is 2 times max. You get to record it 2 times and you got to post it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect. Doesn't matter if you messed up with your words. Does not matter. You must post after 2 times. Oh, you read your email to your boss 10 times before you press send. Like you get 1 time you get to read it over and then you press send. It's literally doing things the opposite of what you usually do. So you have to find the places that it's running the show. I don't know. There's even been other ways in my life where it's like I would wear makeup to the grocery store. It's like, okay, I'm going to practice not wearing makeup to the grocery store and not looking perfect and still like, putting my shoulders back and feeling confident in myself. Like there's so many ways that it presents itself. It can be with how you present in social settings. It can be with Instagram. It can be with captions. It can be with emails. It can even be, overthinking what you said in a group setting and being like, God, I could have like said this thing and like I didn't say that thing. And why am I so fucking dumb? But it's actually regulating in those moments of discomfort and literally training the body. And also just personal validation. I mean, I think people really sleep on this regulation tool, which is, I do this all day long and I didn't notice I did it until I started teaching it, is like, if I'm feeling uncomfortable, I will just like put my hand on my heart and be like, Kristen, you did not do anything wrong. I still love you. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. It's okay. No matter what, you can get through this. Like really just taking that moment to sit with yourself and reparent yourself in the moment and being like, you're not doing anything wrong. Like, I love you. Nothing bad's going to happen. And then what happens is that your brain is meant to get used to things, which is the beautiful part. So after you are getting used, or after you do it a couple times, your brain starts to see, oh my God, I'm actually fine. Like nothing bad is happening. I thought people were going to hate me when I showed up imperfectly, but they're not. And so then you get used to it and you increase your capacity for being imperfect. But here is the really beautiful part. Being imperfect means being authentic. And when you're a perfectionist, you are so inauthentic. You are extremely inauthentic because as a human, you're not perfect. If you're trying to be perfect, you're a fucking machine. And if you're authentically you, well, then you're going to be naturally imperfect.
Wow, I feel like so much of this episode is truly just how to be human 101. Like, it's not how to stop being a perfectionist 101. It's literally how to be more authentically you and how to live more of the human experience. Because I think, to your point, so much of what people forget about is when you're a perfectionist, there's so many like more negative emotions associated with that way of life. Like, you're always anxious. You never feel good enough.
You're hyper controlling everything because you want to be perceived as perfect.
Right.
And in the art,
Newsflash, sweet cheeks.
yeah,
You're not.
you're not. And you're not fooling anyone. You're actually looking extremely inauthentic because people already, like, nobody's expecting you to be perfect. Like, one of the biggest questions I used to ask myself when I was overcoming my perfectionism was, perfect for who? Who are you trying to be perfect for? Like, who is expecting this of you? Because it's not really anyone. It's a lot of times very self-imposed and just an inner child wound of this like feeling. But the more perfect you try to be, yeah, like the less authentic you are. So it's interesting. When I healed my perfectionism, I was so much more authentic. And I think that people who are the least authentic have really, really bad perfectionism because they just are trying to put on a mask. And sometimes this is not a conscious mask. It's so unconscious. But they're trying to, hyper control other people's perceptions because that's how they think they're going to get love.
I was going to say, so much of being a perfectionist, like, at least this is something that I've actively been working on healing just because being a competitive athlete, I have always tied so much of my self-worth with being a podium, like having a podium placement, like first, second, third, literally, like.
Yeah.
But I'm actively working to undo that because it's not that. It's the journey, not the destination. It's, there's so much. We could talk about that forever. But I think something that you just said that really resonates is that a lot of people don't even realize that they're in this perfectionist mindset because it's so normalized. It's so easy to fall into it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's interesting, an example that just popped into my mind, because I think that perfectionism can also be a little bit of like a toxic masculine trait of like, we want to do things. I think there's some beauty to like wanting to do things right. But like, I know for me personally, when I was healing my masculine last fall and into the winter, I was needing to not go 100 miles per hour at everything I did. So to give you an example, if I went to the gym, I would never just like, I'm at the gym. Like, I am working out hard for like 60 minutes. You know what I mean? If I am on a run, I am never going to cut my run short. Oh, 2.55 miles? Well, closer to 3. Just go to the 3 miles, like, don't cut it at 2.55. And I think that in the beginning of my journey, I was such a believer, like, how you do anything is how you do everything. So like, if you want to be a finisher, fucking finish, I was always finishing the things. I was always going above and beyond. I was always going the extra mile when no one was looking. But then it got to the point for me that it was like becoming a little toxic, where I was burning myself out when nobody fucking cared. Like, who are you proving this to? Now it's just because you don't feel good enough. You don't feel good enough if you did 2.55 miles. So you got to go run the 3 miles, right? Like, it was becoming toxic. And so when I was working on my feminine energy, I remember a lot of my Wachuma ceremony when I was in Peru was about softening and not being so mean and hard on myself. Oh my God, I have not remembered this part of my Wachuma retreat. And I don't even think I retopped it in that episode. Okay, so I had this moment in the beginning where I was like, I am so mean to myself in my head. Like, if I don't go the extra mile, I'm like, you could have done it. You could have gone harder.
Girl, you're speaking my life. Yeah.
You can be better. And I was hearing my thoughts for the first time ever. And I was like, I want to be nicer to myself. I want to be more gentle. I want to be like a mother, not like a mean father to myself, because I realized I was like almost being like a mean dad to myself in my head. Like, you can fucking do it. Go. So then I don't even know how I got on this topic, but hopefully it's interesting to somebody. But anyway, okay, so then the next day after our Wachuma ceremony, we did a temezcal. Do you know what that is?
No.
It is where you go into this like dark hut that like is supposed to symbolize a mother's womb, and it's even hotter than a sauna, hotter than a steam room. It is like 107 degrees in there. It is like I don't even know, maybe even more. I don't even know what a sauna is. So it's really hot in there, and you're supposed.
I was gonna say some saunas are like 180 degrees.
80,
180.
108. Okay, so it's like
hotter than way more
it's
than
like
that.
way hotter than that.
Okay.
It's like way hotter, and it's pitch black. It's really just like an intense experience. While we were in this temezcal, there's 4 rounds of it, and he really encourages you not to leave it. I don't know what it is about hot spaces, but I do not like being confined in hot spaces. Part of my ceremony, it was interesting. So I'm journaling that morning. This is after the Wachuma ceremony. I'm journaling on like all the lessons I learned, and one of them was like, I need to be nicer to myself. I need to be more gentle with myself. I don't need to be so hard on myself all the time. One of the things, here's the thing, when you're in like a medicine ceremony, because I had 2 and we hadn't done the second one yet, everything is part of the ceremony. Like before the ceremony is part of the ceremony, in the middle, after, like everything is kind of part of the ceremony. So during that time, I'm thinking to myself, this is my fucking medicine to leave this. I need to leave. This is not serving me. Sitting in this hot room and being disciplined is not what my soul is trying to master anymore. I have mastered that a long time ago. Like I need to actually stand up for myself and be in my feminine and be like, this is not serving me. I need to leave. And so during the temezcal, every single person stayed. It was so hard for my ego. I was like, I'm sorry, I need to leave.
What?
I was like, I'm sorry. I just like, this is not serving me. Like, I need to go.
What did it feel like?
It felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It felt like I was a failure. It felt like I was letting everybody else down. It felt like I was going to be misunderstood because I couldn't explain in that moment. No, during my ceremony, I realized that I was being really hard on myself, and this is part of me. You know, I couldn't explain that. It was like, it was my own integrity of like, no, I know what I learned. And this is part of the ceremony that I need to leave this. This is not what I need, because all the other girls there, they're very feminine girls. And when we were saying our intentions before, they were like discipline, honoring my inner masculine. I'm like, my inner masculine is fucking great.
Right.
I do not need to honor that anymore.
Right.
I need to honor my inner feminine. Like I need to honor the part of me that does not want to be in this hot room and wants to actually, doesn't need more discipline. I don't need more discipline in my life. Like I need more flow. Long story short, long story long, actually, there is going to be moments in your life where the medicine is kind of like doing the opposite of what you would normally do. It would have been so natural for me to push through that, but it was actually harder for me to say no and feel a little misunderstood and feel a little weak and then sit in the discomfort of that and then use my voice and be like, oh, this is like a whole new level of using my voice for myself and like advocating versus pushing through. To round this out really nicely, you have to practice being imperfect, and so much of it is just sitting in the discomfort of doing what you normally wouldn't do.
So for any listener that is listening to this episode and they want to start small, they think they're a perfectionist, they know they're a perfectionist, they want to start small in terms of healing this, taking steps. How can they start?
Inner child work. Because here's the thing is the external always follows the internal. So instead of just going to the external and like practice being imperfect, your unconscious will feel so unsafe in that it's actually better to prime your internal world before you go to the external. So I would say, asking yourself a very simple question like, when was the first time that I realized that I got more love the more perfect I was? Or when was the first time that I got love taken away when I wasn't perfect? And I just wanted to leave that pause in because maybe something came to your mind. Maybe you're starting to have your wheels turning, and that will be what you're going to want to reparent, right? Like, let's say that you only got love from your parents when you came home with all A's. Well, maybe you would reparent it by maybe one time you come home with some some B's, but your mom is like, but did you try your best? And you're like, yeah, I did. And she's like, all right, I love you then. I love you. You did amazing. Let's go out to dinner to celebrate that. Right? It could just be a little moment like that where you reparent your inner child. And this is not about pretending it didn't happen with inner child work. It's about changing the emotion around what happened so that you still feel worthy. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. It's like not like we're faking what happened. It's that your inner child left that experience creating a belief out of it. So we need to give her a new experience, or him a new experience, so that they have a belief that actually backs up our internal worthiness.
Love that. Okay, I would love for you to tie this to procrastination and being a doer, because I know we've talked so many times about how
I'm going to make a quick assumption about you if you listen to Alignment Academy, the podcast, that ever since you were little, you just had this deep feeling that you were meant for big things in this world. You weren't here to be ordinary, but you were here to be a mover and a shaker. Hi, I'm Kristen, and same. Except for years, I was self-sabotaging because even though I felt in my soul that I was here to do extremely big things, I could not stop procrastinating, self-sabotaging, feeling massive amounts of imposter syndrome, and don't forget getting triggered as fuck every single day of my life. And honestly, I didn't know what to do. And then I found inner work. I found energy healing. I found all of the modalities that I still use today. The spiritual tools that I use feel like I found a hack to this universe. Like, the rules don't apply to me because I know how to shift my vibration. I know how to reprogram my subconscious mind. I know how to give myself any beliefs that I want to believe about the world, like money comes easy to me and the rules don't apply to me and I don't need a real job. These are all just beliefs that I believe about myself. If you're similar to me, you know you have a big mission, but you know it's also time to get out of your own way and heal your blocks for good so you can actually just take action on your mission. This is why I created Alignment Academy, the membership. Inside this membership, you are going to get everything from live coaching sessions with me monthly, all of my best-selling heart work meditations and hypnosises. You're going to get all of my energy healing activations to do energy work on yourself anytime you want. Not to mention, as soon as you enroll, you get a library of 9 past masterclasses and 8 on-demand meditations. But the very best part is the people in the community. This is some of the most heart-centered, amazing humans I've ever come in contact with. Honestly, people have made friends in this group. They've met up in person in this group. It's the place to be. This is seriously the only space on the internet that weaves quantum manifestation, inner work, and business to help you quantum leap in your soul's growth and your business growth. If you're serious about healing, getting out of your own way, and taking massive action this year, then join with the link below. See you inside.
there's a lot of people that really struggle to be a doer. It's not something that you and I really struggle with. It's really not. And that's not to be on my high horse and say that we're better than anybody or this or that, but like truly to say that it's not hard for me to sit down and do the hard thing. It's actually like what Kristen was saying before with her example, like it's actually a lot harder for me to go easy on myself and to take a second, step away from a workout, like be more in my flow. So can you talk about being a doer?
You know, actually, Ari, for the first time, I think I'm going to flip this because I want to talk about being friends with Ari has been actually quite enlightening. I feel like I'm like friends with myself and I'm like, whoa, she's intense. She really does get stuff done. So I'm going to give you guys an example. So we're in Hawaii, right? And me and Ari are always kind of like chatting about business stuff. And Ari obviously has built an amazing fucking personal brand. Like literally just go look at her Instagrams. They're insane. She's a master brander. If you look at my Instagram and you're like, wow, Kristen, your Instagram had to glow up. Ari did my marketing. Like she's fucking amazing at it. I remember there was this morning where we talked and she was talking about like, she was going over some potential offers with me. And I was like, well, Ari, like I can shoot this shit with you all morning, but like you need to just do some market research. Just like ask your audience to get on a call with you. Just like book some 10 calls and ask them some questions. Like this is something that I teach in Soulful Strategy. Like ask them a couple questions and, you know, you'll get a good idea of, you know, their biggest problems, what they want from you, how much they're willing to spend. Like you just need to talk to your audience. I was like, I don't know your audience. I'm not your audience. Literally that day we had locked down. This is in Hawaii. There was like 1 or 2 days where me and Ari did need to like do 3 hours of work. So we had like locked in some time to do some work. So anyway, I'm on Ari's email list. We get to the end of our work session. I check my email and it's like, hey, I want to hear from you. Book a call so I can book. Like, it was literally the exact verbiage I gave her. And I'm like, Ari, you already did this? And you were like, yeah, it was so easy. You were like, I had to make a Calendly and make a link and blah, blah, and you did it all already. Guys, this is like a whole thing that like I give my clients like a week and a half to do. And you did it in like 30 minutes.
I'm literally dying laughing right now. If you're not watching this, you can see I am so uncomfortable with Kristen talking about this. I'm like drinking water, like dying laughing at the corner right now. Because I feel like I'm being exposed. But like, because I think it's not always super healthy how much I do, how hard I go. Like, I wake up at 5 a.m. every day and I don't like ease myself out of bed, like make myself a silly little latte and like breakfast. Like, I wake up and I'm like, go, 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 go. And I kind of get embarrassed about that. I will not lie.
Why?
Because I think, do you really want to know why?
Why?
Because everybody else says don't do it, but I love it. And I don't know why. Like I don't know why I'm in
though.
I know. But I don't know why it's embarrassing I guess the embarrassment comes from other people not understanding that is what makes me happy. Like, I love to put my head in the books and just grind. Like, I love it. But I feel embarrassed about it because other people take that as like, oh, you work too much. Oh, you're a hardo. Oh, whatever. And because they don't understand it, it makes me feel embarrassed. But I'm not willing to change it because I don't want to change it. I love it. Like, I'm not going to change for other people. So I guess that's why talking about it on a podcast makes me a little embarrassed.
So Ari needs some shadow work around being a hardo. So maybe we'll do an episode where I walk Ari how to heal this shadow.
Yeah, would that be interesting for you guys? I don't know.
Let me know. Yeah, actually, I identify with that. Honestly, I healed that shadow 2 years ago because, you know, I have a lot of friends that are really slow and feminine, and they would be like, Kristen, you're obsessed with working. You know how I work a lot too. I don't work as much as I used to, actually. I actually work a lot less than I used to. I used to work like so much more. Then I realized that like, honestly, what helped me to be completely honest was looking at like my astrology, my numerology, my human design. I'm like, my soul came here to fucking build, like, and work. You know, I've said this on so many episodes, but like, I am a Virgo moon. I am a generator. I am a 4, the builder, a life path number. I'm an Aries sun. Like, my entire chart literally screams like, you're here to work, you're here to build, you're here to work. And like, it really validated who I was because I was like, I like to work. But all this to say, Ari is a doer. Ari like does quicker than I've ever seen someone do. Even though you might have these, you know, beliefs in your head or these thoughts or these like, I'm not doing enough. What are your pieces of advice for being a doer? Like, how do you get out of your head and just train yourself to do? Because I think that one of the things that we've both done, Ari, is like, we've gotten so comfortable with discomfort that almost not being uncomfortable actually feels more uncomfortable than being uncomfortable.
Could not agree more with that. Like, when it's been a while since I've felt true discomfort, I know that it's time to like go skydiving or jump out of a plane, like do something crazy. And it doesn't even have to be like to that level, but I know that it's time to get really uncomfortable because I know that that's where the growth happens. That's where the magic is made. Like, I know that that is literally how you level up as a human. And so when I'm comfortable for a long time, it's like, no, let's go get uncomfortable. Let's go sit down in a grassy field, bring a journal and turn my phone off and go like ideate on like how I want to change the world, or get really creative and write poetry for 3 hours, or like, it doesn't have to be crazy intense. It can be beautiful and whatever, but like, do something that you've been putting off because it's important. But your question, how do I do?
Yeah. What are your tips for doing if you're a girly that just has trouble executing?
Honestly, it sounds crazy, but I think it ties in with this episode perfectly. And it's doing it messy. Like, that email that Kristen's talking about, it was not beautifully prototyped in Canva. It didn't have my branding all over it. It had no logos. It was literally a blank white email. But I got the job done. And I walked away with 15 calls.
Actually, no, you didn't. Let's tell the story. because I think it's really important to tell the whole story. Because
After, like, what happened after that?
so you didn't get any calls booked.
No, from the email, I didn't. But
See, this is the thing though. This is why Ari is who she is. She like doesn't even register this as a failure.
yeah,
Like,
no, I didn't.
this is so she comes to me and she's like, I'm like, Ari, I can't believe you already sent that email. What the fuck? And she was like, yeah, but it didn't work. Like, I didn't get any calls booked. So then I say to her, this is actually such a funny story. So then I say to her, well, yeah, you should probably do it on your Instagram story, not your email.
Literally
Well,
like 20 minutes later, what I do?
20 minutes
Put
later,
it on my Instagram.
it's on her Instagram story, okay?
And that's where it happened.
And then she gets 15 calls booked.
It was epic. Literally epic. But again, that Instagram story was not perfectly designed. There was no Canva involved. It was literally a random picture of a palm tree and some text and whatever. But like, that's the point. Like, this version of Ari that you're seeing, this doer, the messy doer, was not always like this. And this is actually relatively new within the past, I'd say, 1.5 to 2 years. And it actually came from a job that I had. So I used to be a professional podcast host. I podcasted for this company. And my boss changed my way of thinking completely. And I don't actually know if I've ever told you about this. I used to be the craziest perfectionist where I was so uncomfortable with, and I think social media is a great place to like give you an example. I used to be so uncomfortable with putting things on my story if it wasn't perfect. I used to be so uncomfortable with posting things online if the photos weren't perfect, if they weren't edited perfectly, if the caption wasn't perfect, if it wasn't funny enough, if I didn't look pretty enough, whatever, okay? Perfectionist in all realms, but that's a really great example. Then I get this job and I sign with them, and how it worked is basically they once a month or twice a month, I would get flown somewhere or have specific conversations that I would be having with different guests. It was really exciting. It was awesome. But immediately when I signed, like, they didn't have a podcast already, so I had to build it from the ground up. That means branding. That means conversations, like what is the podcast about? Who are the guests? Everything. The minute I sign with them, they're like, okay, awesome. So your first conversation, can be in like 30 days in LA? I was living in Texas at the time. I was like, oh, wait. What do you mean? Like, I have to have a full outline, briefing, concept for this podcast. I already need to create a following. I need to do the. And my mind was like exploding. And I was like, well, no, like I need like 5 months minimum, 3 months. Like, I think I could maybe do 30 days with a guest already booked, multiple guests, because you're flying me all the way out there. How am I going to do that? And then my boss was like, Ariana, what do you mean? You just need to start. And I was like, I don't understand. And she was like, it doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Mm-hmm. You're going to figure it out along the way. And I was like, what do you mean figure it out along the way? And she was like, Ariana, if you sat on this idea for 6 months and you prototyped and you kept ideating and like redoing it and refining it, no matter what happens, you're still going to have to go back and refine it. You're still going to have to go back and adjust it and fix it and continue to iterate after it launches, because then you're going to actually understand what your audience really wants. And, you're going to have some learnings that you're going to need to put in place. So why not just launch it, like save yourself 5 months and launch it 5 months earlier and just launch it in a month from now? And I was like, oh my God, you're right. No matter what happens, I'm going to have to adjust this. I'm going to have to change this. It's not going to be perfect, even if I invest 6 months of my life into it. So why not just start sooner and learn faster? Fail sooner, learn faster, adjust, boom. Wow. It changed everything. And so ever since then, I was like, oh my gosh, it literally doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. It's not that deep. And you know what? I will say there are certain things, there's certain projects, there's certain films, there's certain things, parts of my brand that like I will sit on. I will refine them. I will make them to my level of liking. But I don't use the word perfect anymore. And I'm not like, no, it has to be perfect, because there is no perfect. I'm always going to adjust things. I'm always going to change things. But yeah, I think the email thing, the stories thing, the book a call with me thing, I think that's a great example, because you're right. I think old Ariana would have sat down and been like, I need to do the perfect Canva layout, because like I would have found.
I think that so many people would have stopped after the email and been like, nobody wants to
Oh, like it didn't work.
it
Yeah.
didn't work. Like, and instead you didn't even look at that as a failure. You're like, let me try something else. That was the moment where you, I think, really like your character shone through was like, okay, you didn't even look at it as a failure. You were like, all right, let me go at a different angle, and then it worked. So sometimes it's just a little tweak.
Totally.
And the other thing is you didn't make it mean anything about you. So many people, they fail and then they make it mean that they're not good enough. They make it mean that they suck. They make it mean that they're unworthy. It's like, it doesn't mean anything fucking about you. It just means that nobody checked their email in 3 hours. You know what I mean?
I have a lot of friends that wrap a lot of their self-worth up in their work. And, you know, could you actually speak to that? Like, I genuinely don't know how to give them advice and like what to say to them because I never really have. I think maybe I did years ago, but I feel like that's something that I healed. Like, I'm not my work. Also in this whole triathlon journey, like, I'm not this world record. This is actually like a really interesting thing as well, before you speak to that I feel like I had to confront myself with. And it was like, okay, I'm chasing a world record. If I don't achieve this world record, am I going to hate myself for it? Am I going to feel bad for it? Am I going to like look at myself, never be able to look myself in the eyes again? No, I'm not numbers. I am going to give this my all. And if my all is not a world record, then my all was not a world record. But that's not the point. Like, you don't, personally, I don't sign up for competitions to win. I sign up for competitions because I love testing my limits, walking my edge, seeing what I'm made of, and meeting the person, like the new version of myself that's at the finish line. Like, it's so much more than just numbers and, you know, I don't know. Yeah, all of that.
Well, people are obsessed with the end result and they're not obsessed with the journey.
Yeah.
And if you're obsessed with the end result and not the journey, then entrepreneurship is just not for you. It's really not.
Amen.
It's all the journey. It's mostly the journey.
It's mostly the journey.
And as soon as you get to the finish line, well, guess what? That's the floor now. So what do you want to do next? You know, it's like, I think that the trait of a true soul entrepreneur, like someone who just was here to be a fucking entrepreneur, is that they are obsessed with the game of entrepreneurship. And that's why, you know, I talk about like the simulation, the game so much. I'm like, this is a fucking game. Learn how to play it. And the way you learn how to play the game is that you fail hard and fast and you don't make it mean anything about you and you keep on going and you go until you win.
I think a lot of people don't realize that entrepreneurs actually have like a lot of self-love. Like, you kind of gotta love yourself if you're gonna fail over and over and over again.
And they just have a love for the journey of it. Like, they're just like, I don't know. It's just like, I'm gonna fail until I don't, you know, like,
Right.
that's it. Right. And really, that's how I think of my business, is like literally throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like, my team, they're just like, they must think I don't care about anything, because sometimes they'll be like, I don't know, I had this idea. I'm like, yeah, try it. Like, I don't care. I'm like, let's try it. Let's try this. Let's try that. Like, I don't really care. And then when we find something that works, we double down on what works. But until we find something that works, I don't care if we have to try 100 things. It's fine. Let's keep on going. This is the journey. This is a journey and I'm having fun. So let's do it.
So for all of the procrastinators out there, what are your top tips to help them become doers?
Well, number one, you just got to do the inner work. I don't know how you heal without it. Like, I wish I could give you a really nice, fuzzy example, but like, I don't know how you heal this inner child wound without inner child work. So number one, looking at the very real trauma that you may have with yourself around like, why don't I feel good enough if I don't perform perfectly? And what am I scared to do? Like, what am I scared that's going to happen on the other side of me doing it? Because that's the real juice. And when you can confront the fear and when you can move through the fear and regulate through the fear, you're going to not really fear it anymore. So number one is like doing the inner work to find why you're procrastinating. What are you avoiding feeling? That's actually the question you want to answer. What am I avoiding feeling? Am I avoiding feeling like a failure? Am I avoiding feeling not good enough? Am I avoiding feeling like people are judging me? Like, what are you avoiding feeling? And then from there, I would say part of this is forcing yourself to do. Once you can regulate through it, it's like, okay, now you need to sit with yourself and you need to do. And you need to get comfortable doing things before you're ready. You need to build self-trust by, if you say you're going to wake up and go to the gym at 6, wake the fuck up and go to the gym at 6. If you say you're going to make your bed every day, make your fucking bed every day. Like, don't start so big. Like, I'm going to build a multi-6-figure business. Like, no, that's not going to build trust. What's going to actually build trust is, I'm going to post 5 days a week for the next 4 months. Okay, now post 5 days a week for the next 4 months. You know,
And when you say build trust, you mean with yourself?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
With yourself. And yeah, like, I think over time, your neural pathways shift to like not doing to like doing before you're ready, and then that becomes your new norm. Like, truly, sometimes I like punch the gun too quick. I'm like, oh wait, let's do it, you know, because I'm just so used to doing things before they're ready or before they're done, because I'm like, my Aries just like wants to get it out, and I'm like, I'm just like a little impatient. And so I would say, yeah, inner work and taking action before you're ready is going to be a really good place to start. I also have like a perfectionism meditation inside of Alignment Academy, the membership. I also have my inner child meditation inside the membership. I have a perfectionism masterclass inside the membership. I have an inner child masterclass inside of the membership. Like, truly, I think that if you know you have this issue, but you're not doing anything to heal it, it's a form of self-sabotage. Like, think about it. If you know you have this thing, but you're just choosing it at this point, then it's self-sabotage. So that's on you. And to be honest, like, that version of you is never going to be a winner. Sorry, but you're not.
Not in this lifetime.
This lifetime. At the end of the day, might feel really hard and uncomfortable to hear, but like, you either have it or you don't. Are you going to take action, or are you just going to sit on this fucking idea for months and months and months? Are you going to take action, or are you just going to sit there and blame it on your perfectionism for months and months and months? Like, the people that are doing big things, they're moving like Ari. Like, they hear the idea, they get something, and they move. And they don't care if they fail. They don't care if it's not perfect. It's like, the quicker you can move, the more data you're going to get, the better you're going to get at the thing. It's like so simple in my brain. I'm like, oh, you're not good at something? Fucking do it, and then you'll be good at it. Like, that's it. Oh, you're not good at making content. You're not good at making money. You're not good at selling online. Fucking sell online. You'll be good at it. You know, it's like actually so simple in my brain, but I think that our human overcomplicates it. So I don't know. Sorry, that was kind of mean, but
I mean, nobody starts out good at anything.
yeah.
Like, one of my friends, he's like, yeah, I really want to get into online, like the realm of social media, online, posting things online. But I'm so bad at editing videos, I could never. I was like, you think anybody started good? Like, I literally used to be so bad. And like, I'm still learning. But like, the only way you get good at anything is to start. And are you kidding me? Like, yes, I'm chasing a world record in Ironman triathlons. I used to be the slowest runner ever, like barely could run a 10-minute mile. Like, what? Like,
Oh,
we
we forget?
That's how you get good at anything.
Starting to run after your first triathlon was really good for my ego.
Starting to run after my first trip. Oh, after my first Ironman that you came to. Yeah.
Then I started running after that. Yeah, I'm still running. Dude, like, me having to keep my heart rate in zone 2 and running a 12-minute fucking mile.
Right?
I was like, my ego is literally dead.
You literally have to sit the fuck down and be like, okay, I'm shit.
Yeah.
But it's good for you because what? You got better.
You got better. Honestly, we should talk about that in another episode. Okay. My running journey, because it taught me a lot.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Before this episode ends, I want to leave you guys with a quote. And it's for all of the procrastinators out there. And this quote really helped me. It was, if you never have the time, then you'll never have the time, because time is not found, it's created. So make time for the things that you want to make time for. You'll never find the time for it. If not,
Slay.
right? So good.
Big slay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, guys, I think that wraps up our perfectionism and procrastination episode. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for still being here. I know I was a little mean, but maybe you need to hear it. I don't know. I'm healing my mean girl shadow. Sometimes I think that if I just say what I want to say, that people are going to think I'm mean, but you know what? It's okay.
I was going to say, I don't think you were mean. I think you were honest.
You're right. I was honest.
Yeah.
You're welcome for being honest. I'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.